Welcome to the Mason-Dixon Line of Scrimmage NCAA Tournament Breakdown. I'm Cole Draughn. I have Johnathon Holder right here with me. We're going to do a quick run-through of each region in the tournament this year. We're going to give you our picks to who we think will end up being the Final Four teams who have a chance to cut down the nets in Dallas in April. We're going to give you some upset specials, maybe a dark horse, that team you may not expect to go to the Final Four who has a good possibility. And we're going to get started here with the South region, and Johnathon's going to start.
All right, starting with the South region, I'm going to give you my picks going down. The line will start at the top with Florida advancing, Pitt over Colorado in the 8-9 matchup. Stephen F. Austin is my Cinderella team, and I have them over VCU. I have UCLA over Tulsa. I have Ohio State over Dayton, Syracuse over Western Michigan, Stanford over New Mexico, and Kansas advancing past Eastern Kentucky. And then in the round of 32, Florida and Pitt. That's a good matchup, but I like the Florida Gators. Stephen F. Austin keeping the Cinderella slipper on, slipping past UCLA. Syracuse over Ohio State, Kansas over Stanford. And then in the Sweet 16, Florida will end Stephen F. Austin's run and make it to the Elite Eight. Kansas over Syracuse. And then with a trip to the Final Four on the line in the South region, Florida and Kansas, I like the Florida Gators to advance. What do you got, Cole?
Starting at the top of the bracket, I also think Florida's going to beat either Albany or Mount St. Mary's. 16 never beat a 1. I don't really see it happening here this year.
First time for everything.
It may be, but I don't see it happening, at least in this region. Next game, you have Pitt over Colorado. I haven't seen Colorado play a whole lot. I've seen Pitt some, so I think just with their conference and the tough, or as far as the strength of schedule there, I think Pitt will have an advantage there. 12 over 5 is usually an upset pick. You usually see it happen. And Stephen F. Austin, they have 31-2 record. But I think Shaka Smart and VCU, I think they're going to advance here. UCLA over Tulsa, I believe, will happen. Next game, Ohio State and Dayton. See kind of an in-state battle going on here. Dayton may have something to prove, but I think the Buckeyes will eventually wear them down with their defense. I've got Syracuse over Western Michigan. I think New Mexico will end up taking down Stanford in a close one. And I don't look to see Eastern Kentucky give Kansas a fight at all.
No.
Moving on to the next round, I have Florida over Pitt. I think Pitt may give Florida a game for probably first half and probably half of the second half, but I think Florida will eventually wear them down. Between VCU and UCLA, I think Shaka Smart and his experience here, I think, and his coaching ability, I think he'll be able to push his team through. Between Ohio State and Syracuse, I think the zone of Syracuse will just give Ohio State, who doesn't seem to have too many good shooters on their team, I think they'll give them fits, so I think Syracuse will win that one. When you get down to New Mexico and Kansas, a lot of people talking about New Mexico maybe making a run, but I don't see Kansas letting that happen. So moving on to the Sweet 16, I think Florida will continue to beat Florida the way they've been all year and continue to just grind it out with their defense and just putting a lot of pressure on VCU and hitting some threes and advancing on to the Elite Eight. Syracuse, Kansas, I think this will be an interesting matchup. Really a coin flip here. I don't really know who would win, but I think I'm going to go with Syracuse. I think their zone is just something Kansas hasn't seen this year. And so in the Elite Eight, I have Florida versus Syracuse. Again, I think Florida, they're just too good this year, I think, right now. And I have them beating Syracuse going on to the Final Four. So, right. Potential upset. Johnathon, who is your upset special?
Well, obviously with Stephen F. Austin, or whatever they call themselves. I don't know. That's a new team.
The Lumberjacks.
The Lumberjacks, okay. Obviously, I have them in the Sweet 16. I think they're going to make a run. It's going to be a tough road for them to do so, but I do believe that they can make a run. My question for you is, we both have Florida in the Final Four. If not Florida, who's got a shot to not dethrone them, knock them off, and get into the Final Four? If not Florida, who do you think?
I think Pitt's got a chance of beating them in that second round, but I think Florida's too good. But if not Florida, then I guess I'm going to have to go with the Orangemen in Syracuse. I think with their defense, when you get in conference, teams, they adjust. About midway through the ACC season, you've seen a lot of teams adjusting. Syracuse started losing some games, but I really see once they get to the tournament and teams aren't familiar with that zone and how to attack it, and I think their length and just their athleticism will push them on if Florida doesn't and go to the Final Four. Who might be a dark horse, in your opinion, to make it to the Final Four out of this region?
I really don't see a dark horse. I think the favorites, Florida, Syracuse, and Kansas, are the only three teams that really have a shot to get to the Final Four. And I'm not trying to dodge your question, but I just don't see a dark horse in this bracket.
Well, I'm kind of there with you. I mean, I guess if I had to choose besides Florida, Syracuse, or Kansas, I would probably just go with VCU just because they've got a coach who's got there before. And, I mean, you get hot. The NCAA tournament's about guard play. VCU seems to have some good guards who's going to shoot the ball well. And I think they could potentially be a dark horse.
This is the first region that we went through. There's 3 other regions, but out of the 4 regions, I think this is probably the second toughest road to the Final Four. I think there's 2 easier regions. I think there's 2 tough regions, and I think this is one of them. It's whoever comes out of it's going to earn it.
I agree. Stay tuned, and we'll move on to the next region in probably the East region, and you can see our picks for there.